Transformers, the movie, is a classic piece of the brand's history, featuring some of the most memorable moments of our favorite characters. Without a shadow of a doubt, the Decepticon leader Megatron gave us some of the movie's finest moments. Now, Megatron has been immortalized in studio series with an all-new leader-class figure. Before we look at the figure itself, here's a look at its packaging. While we see the return of the plastic windows which have been absent since 2022, they have now removed two traditional features of Studio Series that have otherwise been present since the line's genesis in 2018, the numbering system and the backdrops. While I think a packaging redesign was due, this seems to be a step backwards. The lack of a backdrop really makes the figure get lost in a sea of blue. I'm also feeling a bit burnt out with the Transformers logo that's been used since 2014. The side features a portrait of Megatron and an image of his controversial new alternate mode, which I will dwell on later. The side of the box continues the portrait with a small scene of Autobot City. The back of the package gives us a small description and is still from the movie. I feel like there were better images that could have been used here, as the quality of this one is quite poor. Megatron comes packaged in robot mode. The box also includes one fusion cannon, one gun barrel, one lightsaber as briefly used against Optimus Prime during their iconic battle, and one Megatron gun accessory to be used with other action figures. You will also find a lengthy sheet of instructions. Megatron's robot mode is a stunning recreation of his Sunbow animation counterpart, appearing more slender and streamlined than nearly any other modern take on the character. The face especially looks uber cartoon accurate, painted in a light matte gray. The chest features a Decepticon logo tampograph, but I feel like the silver border doesn't really mesh with the rest of the aesthetic. Elbows and the sides of his torso are painted in a nice red. Oddly, the backs of the forearms are rounded, a compromise made for the alternate mode. The torso details are all painted, but I wish they were picked out in pastels, similar to the 35th anniversary Megatron figure. Waist is molded in a dark gray, and the skirts even have details resembling the gun grips of the original Generation 1 toy. Perhaps this figure's most peculiar design choice was the bluish-gray legs. While Megatron's legs do appear to be a third shade of gray in the cartoon, they are nowhere near this blue. The product photography on the box seems to be a much closer match to his actual appearance. You will also notice some minor tank kibble on the back of the legs, but its location doesn't significantly detract from the overall look from most angles. Megatron stands at about 7.5 inches tall, about a quarter inch taller than 2024's Commander-class Optimus Prime. The robot mode is an outright showstopper despite its few flaws, and the quality makes the experience all the more fun. Megatron's articulation is undoubtedly one of the most alluring features of the figure. He has a ball joint at the head, allowing for a full swivel, some side-to-side movement, and a slight downward pivot. Shoulders can pivot all the way around and move a full 90 degrees outward. There are also butterfly joints that can move forwards and back. There is a swivel at the bicep, as well as a comfortable elbow bend, going more than 90 degrees. Wrists can swivel all the way around, and the fists have movable fingers, with the index finger being able to move independently. The waist can rotate all the way around. Hips are in universals and can go forward at an acute angle and outward all the way. There is also an upper thigh swivel, more than 90-degree knee bend, and an ankle pivot. Megatron's conversion is quite complicated, even for a leader-class figure. Despite this, the process is very entertaining. The legs make up the majority of the tank mode, and folding in about 8 different ways each. The way the arms fold out from the back from the chest is also very reminiscent of the G1 toy, despite turning into two completely different objects. There is a plethora of new techniques utilized to turn a robot mode made out of firearm parts into a solid military vehicle. While the conversion into this mode is a pleasant undertaking, the tank mode clearly has some compromises. The gun's scope has now been repurposed as the back of the turret, while the gun barrel now becomes the front. It is quite obvious these pieces have been cobbled together to form something functional. The turret also pivots at an awkward place, towards the back of the tank rather than in the middle. The tank's lower half, however, is quite solid looking, with no gaps in the treads, though there is some kibble from the robot mode shins that sit here. Despite the many shortcomings of this mode, it does roll very nicely. For accessory functionality in this mode, the pistol can be stored on the front of the turret, while the lightsaber can be plugged into the side of the treads. For the accessory's functionality in robot mode, the fusion cannon can be placed into his forearm, and the gun barrel can be attached to the back of the figure, completing Megatron's look from the Generation 1 animated series. His pistol accessory utilizes a 5mm port, allowing it to be held by nearly every modern Transformers figure, including Megatron himself. It has a small tab on its scope, which allows it to be placed alongside his gun barrel. Unfortunately, the pistol does not have a stock like other similar accessories. Due to this compromise, I believe it would have been more fitting to include the purple gun that Megatron used to vanquish Optimus Prime in the film. Speaking of that battle, the lightsaber accessory fits into either of Megatron's hands, but the way that it is designed means that it cannot be utilized by figures without opening fists, unlike the recently released Age of Extinction Optimus Prime's sword, which comes apart. This accessory can also be stored on the back. In short, Studio Series Leader Class Megatron is one of the finest figures we've gotten in recent years. He has spot-on cartoon accuracy, fun accessories, and top-shelf articulation. The conversion is a pure delight, which is rare in most Studio Series figures due to their complex designs. While the tank mode is a bit of an afterthought, it still manages to convey Megatron's warmonger personality, which made him an iconic villain over 40 years ago. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more.